So because I am very up to date and cutting edge, I am now going to review two products that you cannot buy anymore. But nevertheless, I think they will be useful. These reviews will be useful points of reference because you're going to see more stuff like this in the future, from the same vintage or from different vintages. So, when's my interest in still reviewing them? Even though, unless K&L digs up another case of this somewhere, these are kind of not going to be on your shelf anytime soon if you don't already have them. All right, so two big heavy hitters, pot-distilled molasses-based rums. One from Fiji, from South Pacific Distillery, and another one from Jamaica, and they're not specifying, but it's pretty easy to tell that it's Hampden. And not just any Hampden, this is the C Diamond H mark from Hampden, which I believe is the second highest after DOK. Doc, which I adored, and it was so good it made me cry. I will link up that video. The Fiji is interesting in its own way. It is an independent bottling from the collaboration between the Fine Drams folks and the Aficionados Discord server, Reddit nerds. And everything I've had from them has been pretty dang good. So obviously I've already sampled both of these and made some notes. I also accidentally just spilled a little bit of this Hampden prior to filming, which is the saddest thing that has ever happened. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but it's so strong that it's actually started to pull the varnish, the finish, off the table. If you're wondering what this white spot is, that's what it did when in contact with high ester Hampden. All right, let's pour these things, and I will get into the details. These are both around the same price, which is what made me interested in comparing them up. Aside from the fact that they are all both sent to me by my friend Matt. Thank you, Matt, for letting me try these. All right, let's start with the Fijian. Again, South Pacific Distillery, which I reviewed previously. I reviewed a 2014 and from the TCRL, and I reviewed a Holmes K from 2004, and I like them both. I wasn't over the moon over either one of them, but let's give it another shot. So this has an interesting story. This was so it's a 2004 vintage. This stuff, bottled at 66.8% ABV. So put in barrel in 2004 originally. Doesn't mean it was all distilled then. They don't mention that for some reason, but all put in barrel in 2004, aged in whatever barrel that was in the tropics, so tropical aging, until 2016, when it was shipped to England and given not a finish, really a secondary maturation, re-racked in fresh American oak. And then finally bottled on January 8th, 2020. So, year and a half ago, say. For 214 bottles, unchill-filtered, no color, like everything these guys do. All right, so that sort of secondary maturation is the point of interest here. I haven't seen that in a South Pacific yet, but let's see what it does. Okay, interesting. Obviously, the Holmes K is the closest point of reference, same vintage, that one. And it's doing a lot of the same things. So on the one hand, this is very desserty and just confected. So like honeys, mixed honeys, wildflower honey, maybe some manuka honey, clover honey in there too. A little molasses, like light molasses, cooking molasses. Just like fresh, sweet pastries, like, all of the like fruit croissants and stuff, all the stuff behind your cafe counter that you kind of scarf down, even though you probably shouldn't. Some confectioner's fudge, so fudge but without the cocoa. Actually, there's something I get with in Chinatown with my daughter, sesame balls. These balls of with sesame seeds and stuff on the outside, and there's some filling on the inside, and they're great, and it smells like them. But then running alongside those confected notes, well, there are a couple things running alongside those. Are the very industrial nature of an austere nature, or at least the other side of the South Pacific distillate. So fresh rubber, just like bike tires, fresh off the shelf, seawater, black olives, some absinthe, like a smoked like one smoked anchovy, the good stuff. Bananas Foster, in there, like Bananas Foster right next to a rubber fire, if that makes sense. Some orchard fruit too, like orchard fruit candy. And then laid on top of this normal opposition, which I already saw in the Holmes K, you have a fresh coat of American oak. So it's doing a little bit of like a pound cakey vanilla frosting, kind of like a maybe Appleton Foursquare kind of thing, maybe leaning more towards Foursquare. That kind of style. It's fun. Oh, and it's very nippy. The alcohol is coming through, but that's okay because they did not cut this down when they bottled it. On the palate, very warming. Let's start with that. Very, very nippy. The alcohol is I can tell you right now, this needs a little bit of water, and I forgot my my drippy straw, so we're gonna have to just shoot from the hip on this one. Very nippy, kind of butterscotchy, but like butterscotch mixed in with grass, but nice. Pastries again, it's bitter herbs on this. Interesting. So the herbs are coming both from the distillate, but also from the oak. There's some dill in there. Actually, the oak is speaking up quite a bit on the palate. Dry tannins. Some like kind of like an old book sort of note. Raw oak. Stag, like you poured a shot of Stag Junior in this. Vanilla, coconut, dill, wood tannins. But then like fruit candy, like the old like strawberry candy things, that kind of stuff. Like that, there's a lot of that going on in the palate. Cream soda. But then you have that little industrial side, which is adding some interest. Rubber cement, burning paper, kind of a lot of fennel, kind of almost an old Amaro, like a old school Amaro note in there too, like a bitter tree bark thing. More grass, more dried flowers. Olives, a little bit of oatmeal. There's lots of so there's basically three different elements going on in this. You have this sort of natural desserty thing that I've seen before, that Fiji seems to do a lot of the time. You have the sort of industrial, rubbery, tire fire thing that Fiji also seems to do sometime, naturally. And then overlaid all of that, just pour, Elijah Craig 18 and Stag Junior and all these sort of over oaked bourbony notes into the same pile. And it's a little bit disarming at first, but wait until I add water, because it does start to come together. Disorienting, I'm sorry. It's been a long day. When this was available, it was between, depending on where the euro was, 90 and $100, which incidentally is also the same price of standard Foursquare releases these days. And I don't think that was an accident. All right, I'm just gonna wing it. Here we go. Oh. So don't do what I'm doing right now. You should be very precise about the amount of water you're adding. That about does it. Ooh, that is hot. All right, moving on. Now you will notice the Golden Devil, also known as Kill Devil in Europe. This is, but they had to change the name in the U.S. because copyright stuff. Golden Devil, Jamaica. It says Hampden on the bottle, but it's technically Jamaica. 2007, 12-year-old. Everyone knows it's Hampden, and everyone knows it's C Diamond H. Selected by K&L. This is one of their picks. Bottled at 64.1%. Probably aged in, continentally, almost certainly, and aged in, some fairly used oak. I mean, look at that color. That is not fresh oak. And it's bottled at slightly lower proof. Also cask strength though. So you might think, why would I put this second after the Fijian at what, 60, almost 67%. There is a reason I'm putting the second. Jesus Christ. Another planet. I mean, this is some really interesting and distillate. Even with the oak speaking up as loud as it is, the Fiji is still has this. The distillate still has a lot to say, but the Hampden, Jesus. The funny thing about this is that you can tell the oak is trying to just have some word in this, and it's just not gonna happen. Yeah, the impression is just a enormous amount of fruit and flowers and minerality, and just everything rolling right over a poor used oak barrel. That is the kind of the image I'm getting over. In my DOK review, I somehow stumbled across the image of like aliens made out of rock presenting Earthlings with like a fruit basket of the most beautiful fruit the galaxy has ever known. Maybe some flowers in there too, some gorgeous flowers. And that's kind of what this smells like. This is... Oh God, there's so much... it's an explosion of stuff. Lychee fruit, children's vitamins. Pear, but it's like mutant pear. That you got the ooze from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies poured on it, and now it's a mutant pear. Banana, but mango, orange, but they're all both like at the same time overripe and underripe. It's sort of mixed. A little cherry Coke. That's my go-to. That's kind of the giveaway of Hampden for me. That's like one of their signature notes, cherry Coke. Oh my God. Erasable markers, tons of erasable markers. Some olives, seawater again. Old Italian cheese. Pecorino. It's like pecorino that somehow got accidentally aged for like 10 years. Or maybe a little bit of Parmesan alongside that. And then a little bit of like vanilla coming through from that poor little cask. It's trying its best to be like, I can add to the flavor profile too, and it's just got nothing. It's delightful. This is terrific. Oh my god. On the palate, where to start? Floral rocks. Let's start there. Like, take an entire limestone deposit, turn it into flowers, something like that. Cherry Coke again, very dominant, but also some vanilla Coke. The oak is a little bit more showing on the palate than on the nose. Pineapple, some chalk dust, Pop Rocks. If anyone remembers Pop Rocks, I'm showing my age now. Rotting oranges. There's a little bit of a Baijiu thing going on, but very. This is, you would never mistake this for a Baijiu. It's different animal. Great bubblegum. Something tea-like, but it's not. Hold on. It's almost like you took some Darjeeling leaves and you sort of set them on fire, like smoky Darjeeling tea. Cherry, like dessert cherry, Turkish delight, Peking duck sauce, and those erasable markers again. Those are a big flavor component in this. A little bit of a root vegetation note. Like, I've used green potatoes, like candied green potatoes, in these kinds of videos before. But it's really more like, do you know taro? You see it a lot in Asian cuisine. Often in desserts, weirdly enough. And this has a little bit of a taro thing going on. God, that's just mind-blowingly complicated. Yeah, this is going into the 90s. I'm going to tell you that in advance, and I'm going to give this a little bit of water and be very gentle. All right, let's see. Price point wise, this was $109.99, I think it was, back when it was still available. All right, let's see if I got anywhere near right with this. Yep, we're good. So a little bit more expensive than the XXX 4, but you know, you're getting something special. You were definitely getting something special. Great. Let's go back to the Fijian, and hopefully I haven't blown out my palate. On the nose with the Fijian, now that I've added some water, given it some time to open up. Much more bourbony, actually. Much more, but more in balance. Before I added water, the different elements in this were there, and they weren't competing with each other, but they weren't necessarily talking. Here they're sort of now they're sort of interweaving and playing off each other. It's a really seductive nose. Butterscotch, bourbon, but also black pepper, rubbery olives. Kind of a fresh mint leaves thing. What it really reminds me of, so now, okay, let me step back. In my previous South Pacific Distillery reviews, well, the 2014 I found like a little bit almost too austere, even though I love that. It felt like it had a direction, wasn't kind of getting a lot of breadth. whereas the Holmescay, the other 2004, had a lot of things going on, but it didn't seem. It seemed like it needed to pick a direction. This feels like it's picked its direction. It just wasn't the one I was thinking of. This is it. It's going with the Foursquare play. What I mean by that, and I know some people are watching this who are not Foursquare fans. What I mean is, what you've got here, the oak, the American oak, has taken the lead in this. It's dominating the flavor profile, but it's sort of supported. It's got it right by its side. The sort of desserty elements, the butterscotchy elements, and then also the funky industrial elements from the distillate. Those are playing right into this and sort of helping it out, filling out the profile. But it's still got that sort of, oaky, quasi-bourbony theme to it, and it absolutely works. And it's Foursquare play, but it's also just a different the distillate, again, all pot distillate, right? So it's a different animal than Foursquare, but it's working for the same reasons, if I can put it that way. On the palate, same kind of deal. Sweeter, more bourbony. Really bourbony rum heaven. Bourbony notes plus the olives, the ground pepper, some fresh leaves, both like tree leaves and also some herbal leaves like mint leaves. Fennel again. With water, this comes together really, really, really nicely. And I'm going to lose some people on this, but this is the most interesting Foursquare I've had in a while. I think, I don't know if anyone from the distillery is watching this, or from the brand, but y'all should go with this. This is if you can take some older stocks and just re-rack them in some, not necessarily American oak, but some active oak, and just run this all day long and make a ton of money. I would love to see more bottlings like this. This is terrific. It's very Foursquare-y. I'm going to give it a Foursquare score of 89 out of 100. But I also just feel more compelled by it because it's just a set of flavors that I haven't exactly seen before. Even if it's a strategy I've seen before, if that makes sense. That kind of desserty oatmeal-y note is really coming through now too. Nice. Well picked by the Aficionados folks too. This is good. 89. All right, moving over to the Hampden. God, I can smell it from here. All right, give me a second. Okay, so it's still fruity, rocky, smoky, floral, magic markers, but I mean, not just but nice, but like this is heavenly, fruity, rocky, smoky, floral, magic markers. But it feels like it's actually lost a little bit now that I've added water. And don't tell me I've overwatered it, because this happened when I made my notes before too. Some seawater is creeping through now, and it feels like the oak is also crawling through a little bit more. There's some vanilla, there's some walnut. I mean, it's still sort of glorious and insane, but it's kind of just, quieted down a little bit. Not quite quieted down, but kind of dumbed down a little bit. A little bit. On the palate. Oh, what do I do with that? Um, Still dense, still a zillion things going on. Ooh. The finish is endless, by the way. I mean, I will be tasting C Diamond H for a couple of days, probably. Um, but with water, the wood is absolutely coming forward much more, and it's kind of, it feels like it's kind of like pulling away some of those other elements, which frankly I found more interesting. Yeah, nutshell, black pepper, coconut, vanilla, cherry, and not just cherry from the distillate, because Hampden can be very cherry-ish, more like wood cherry. Yes, I mean it's still absolutely amazing, but with water the oak kind of comes out, and the rest of it kind of loses a little bit of steam. This is a really hard one to score because I love it. I love everything that's happening here, except for the fact that the oak, except for the fact that there's oak kind of that feels like it's kind of dragging the thing down a little bit. Normally, I wouldn't complain about barrel influence, but in this case, I think you feel the score wise. In my life, I have never ever given like a 92 minus because it's a stupid score. It implies something is well into greatness, and at the same time, it has a noticeable problem. And that's kind of where I am with this. Yeah, it's tremendous. It's absolutely great stuff, but especially on the palate with water, especially with water, it does the oak does seem to dumb down the event a little bit. So this is kind of a study in contrast. The oak kind of makes this one, the Fiji, and it kind of unmakes the Hampden a little bit. I mean, it's still a 92. It's just a 92 minus. So that's kind of weird. That's what I got, 89 and 92 minus. And I don't know what else to say. If you see either one of these, they're probably worth picking up. I think they're worth the asking price. Yeah, I am sad that I will never get to drink more of this Hampden, just like the DOK, right? Yeah, these are good. These are good, y'all. All right, thanks for watching, and cheers.